program of a BLU806Da. The idea here is there should be an Extron to do mute and volume controls. So what you have to do is go back into the room and under third party, drop in a third party controller. I've named it Extron, dropped it in, named it Extron. Then once you have the third party controller, click on the third party controller. You then have to go through the drop down tabs of the BLU and find it's best in the actual file to make sure that you do header labels for everything as well as possible, so that you can see what each one of the items actually are. So when you go back into the Extron control portal, you will see those items. So under mixers, you see the auto mic, selector, mixer, and then from there it pops up all the individual channels and then the master sections of that. You will then drag that in. Once you drag that in, that'll populate over here as part of the London BLU that you're actually controlling and what it is. So there's the live stage mix. From the live stage mix, you can see for channel 1, we've drug in gain mute for 2, gain mute for 3, 4, and then the aux mute. There's another one here for the program master out, which is the override mute, which mutes the whole thing, stopping the whole thing from coming through. When you do the volumes or the gains, they pop up as set. You have to do the drop down tab, change the drop down tab to set percent. That automatically pops up at 73.73%. Haven't gone through that just yet. We can see here we've changed one to 100% just to see what the difference is, because the Extron doesn't truly follow 0 to 100 as the BLU unit does. After you've done that, you'll have to record these numbers. So we've recorded those numbers, and right here for the wireless gain is OX12C. That's going to be hex. You have to change that to decibel, which that equals 300 and 301. That's what will be inserted into the Extron in their particular ports of the Extron. Now, unfortunately, that's not it, because also you have to go to the unit itself, select the unit, and then down here will actually show you the HiQ address for just that box. So each box has its own HiQ address. So you have to make sure you're in that HiQ address and controlling just that one unit. From there, once you're controlling that one unit, there's one other, go back to room, and then go back to the room, select the DA itself, reselect the DA, it'll highlight, and then from there, it'll drop down the actual node address. So you have to get the node address at that time to pick that up, and that will also something that inserts into the Extron. Just while we're here, also, so that you know, on the control ports, you have to make sure if you're using control ports that you actually subscribe to the control ports. Otherwise, your fire alarm shunts or what have you will not function on a two-wire control. And then there's also another area that you can go select and make it a 3-wire control. But currently we're just using a 2-wire control, and it will be control port yes for subscribing to that. So that's a side note for fire alarm. That's it for this. We'll then move over to the Extron and show you the Extron side.